One of the most beautiful flows of Prince Arjuna sharing is in this chapter. Prince Arjuna goes on to a series of verses where he is sharing how differently he feels about Sri Krishna. You're not my cousin, you are divine, and I feel sad that I don't know you fully. I feel sad that I'm not close to you. So guide me to be able to see you more clearly. And that comes out, this is our third verse of chapter 10, comes out in verse 18. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kataya triptirhi shinvato nasti me mritam. Joy. We have a culture in Meaningful Mornings that most will not be able to chant these verses, but really, what are these words trying to teach us? Joy. First quarter, vistarena, which means in detail. And I know you've all heard this before. What is the biggest joke? Does anyone know what the biggest joke is? I've read the terms and conditions. You just click on that box so you can keep moving forward, correct? But that's where corporations own us, because the devil is in the details. Similarly, divinity is in the details. That's right. Vistarena means tell me in detail. Atmanaha yogam, tell me in detail about your yoga. This yoga, vibhutim, is expressed as vibhuti janardana, the one who lives for the jana. So summarizing this, and please note this because this is the relationship between chapter 10 and 11. Chapter 10 is about vibhuti, it's the expression, but chapter 11 is about yoga. It is the seed for this expression. That's why I said chapter 10 is about diversity and chapter 11 is about unity. Prince Arjuna is asking, I want to know in detail about both. First your vibhuti, then your yoga. Why? Bhuyaha means again. You've already explained to me for 10 chapters, but I want to know more. Kataya tripti, because by you sharing, by you narrating, I feel tripti. I feel joy, but it's not an external joy. It is a independent joy. Shinvanta, I want to listen. I want to listen, na asti, with no end. You just keep on telling me in detail. Summarizing this verse, Prince Arjuna knows only Sri Krishna can describe Sri Krishna. You may have come across this statement before. Once Puja Swami Vivekananda had shared, only another Vivekananda can know this Vivekananda. That is a very powerful statement, which you shouldn't share. Only people like him can say another Vivekananda can understand this Vivekananda. So similarly, who is going to describe Sri Krishna other than Sri Krishna? And Prince Arjuna gets it now. It's no longer a passive sharing. I need to know from the source. And he's sharing here, I'm not integrated with you yet, but I know the more I listen to you, I will be integrated. And so an earlier word he uses is ashesha. Ashesha means without reserve. You share wholeheartedly with me so that I can have you in my heart fully. Verse 7, verse 11, verse 18. And then what does Sri Krishna start to do? He starts sharing the framework, which I shared with all of you. Our sight is on that which is great. Shri Krishna is taking us to a combination of sight and insight. Amongst the great, he's the greatest. But the evolution of that is not using your sight, but using insight. Beyond the greatest is God. So one final thought here is, it was Rishi Surdas who thanked Sri Krishna for being blind, because the image that was burned into his eyes was of Sri Krishna. He didn't need to see me or you. He just saw Sri Krishna. From inspiration. What's lovely about chapter 9, because there's specific details about what to offer, but most of the chapter is about why to offer. This shows us, and it's Sri Krishna's words, bhakti, this is defined as devotion, dedication, dependence, is not an action, it is an attitude. Anyone who makes it an action doesn't know what bhakti is. When you make this an attitude, it pervades your whole lifestyle. That's why we came up with the plan of bow, chant, touch. I forgot the other ones. I think the last one is lift. Now we continued into chapter 10. Bhakti being an attitude. This chapter is about how do I live this attitude externally, in the outside. That is the visualization of chapter 10. In verse 7, Shri Krishna knows that Prince Arjuna is suffering from vikampa. Vikampa means to shake. Now, as I look around, as we all gather, most are not shaking physically, but this vikampa is inside in the form of stress, anxiety, dejection. When one is suffering with this, as an example, one can't think straight. Shri Krishna is going to teach Prince Arjuna avikampa, how to be solid. In verse 8, 9, and 10, some of the highlights from these thoughtful verses, pravartate matva buddha, the one who knows, buddha, pravartate matva, all revolves around me. That is divinity. Such a person shakes less. If I know all revolves around Sri Krishna, I will have less likes and dislikes, less labels like this is successful and this is a failure. The experience of shaking less is tushyanti and ramanti. One is satisfied with that which is external. One is content with that which is internal. It goes both ways. Some people are satisfied with their living conditions, but don't feel content. That's why both words are used. One is happiness and happy. Shri Krishna is emphatic with Prince Arjuna about how all of this revolves on him. Dadami upayanti, it is because of me giving you, it is my gift to you that you're able to return and rest. Then we took up verse 11. I'm reading the translation for everyone. Out of mere compassion for them, I, dwelling within their heart, destroy darkness born of ignorance by the luminous lamp of knowledge. This lamp of knowledge, the lamp is already there. we are forgetting this, and we have to remember this. It is only a guru, the one who removes the darkness, who can make us feel this light. Many of us have a tradition of chanting Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, which means from darkness to light. I always found this line and really this whole prayer to be illogical, to be untrue. How can you go from darkness to light when there is no darkness? And I feel that's where it is the guide in one's life where even such prayers one goes beyond. Acharya Shankara has taught, there is no mukti because there's no bandha. The lamp is there. We just have to start to remember the lamp is there. And I'm laughing. I'm using the word just have to. It's taken lifetimes to be able to just intellectually understand this. In verse 19, Shri Krishna shares that I will try for you, Prince Arjuna, to show you where I am externally. In verse 20, he gives the framework on how he is externally. Please remember these three expressions of Shri Krishna. All emerges from Shri Krishna, exists in Shri Krishna, and ends in Shri Krishna. Emerges, exists, and ends. Everyone caught those three E's. But for the one who's really reflecting on it, if it's all Shri Krishna, none of these verbs are real. This is oneness. What can you do in oneness? Can only be. See how internalization even isn't enough. One has to go beyond this. From verses 21 to 38, 21 to 38, these are 18 verses where Shri Krishna gives 65 external visualizations. External visualizations about how to go from sight to sight insight, like 50-50, and then finally insight. With my sight, I see that which is great. There's snow outside in Niagara Falls. Even as you drive around, if you see a huge mound of snow, it's impressive. Sight, great. But Shri Krishna is taking us to beyond the great, there is the greatest. He's showing us this is only an expression of Shri Krishna. But beyond the greatest is God. That's pure insight.